Have you ever been in a conversation in English and the exact right word was sitting right there in your head, but somehow it wouldn't come out of your mouth? Why? Or maybe you have stood in front of a mirror, practiced the sentence 20 times, but then completely frozen for a moment. If that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. And if you are here because you want to teach other people to get past that exact wall, you are also in exactly the right place. Welcome. My name is Happy Verma, and this is the very first video of a brand new course, Spoken English from the Ground Up, for learners and for future teachers. Before I go further, let me tell you quickly why I am making this. I am not going to pretend this course will make you fluent overnight. Nothing does that. But I can promise you this, everything in this series is practical, no wasted lessons, no filler, just what you actually need, in an order that actually makes sense. This course is built for two kinds of people, and you might even be both. The first is the English learner. Maybe you already know a lot of grammar rules, but the moment you open your mouth, everything feels slower and clumsier than it does in your head. This course is going to close that gap between what you know and what you can actually say out loud in real time. The second is the future teacher. Maybe you have thought about teaching English online in a classroom, to a neighborhood, to your own kids, but you are not sure where to start or how to organize a lesson so it actually works. This course walks you through that too, step by step, using the same content you are learning as a student. So, whichever one you are, or if you are both, stay with me. Every video builds on the last one, so I would genuinely recommend watching these in order rather than skipping around. A quick question for you. Why spoken English and not just English in general? Because speaking is the skill most courses get wrong. Most people study English for years and can read a newspaper, but they freeze in actual conversation. That's not a knowledge problem. That's a speaking practice problem, and it's the one skill that most classrooms and most apps barely touch. This course is going to treat speaking as the main event, not an afterthought. Every section, even the grammar ones, comes back to one question: how does this help you say something out loud with confidence right now? Here's how we are going to do this. I'll be uploading a new video every single day. Each one is short enough to fit into a coffee break, but focused enough that you will walk away having actually learned something you can use that same day. I would genuinely recommend treating this like a real class. Same time each day if you can manage it. Notepad open, and when I ask you to try something out loud, actually say it out loud. Even if you are alone in a room, your mouth needs the practice just as much as your brain does. Before I show you the full roadmap of this course, I want to ask you something. And I actually want you to answer it, not just think the word yes and move on. Why are you here? What's the real reason you clicked on this video? Maybe it's a job interview coming up. Maybe it's a class you'll be teaching. Maybe it's just the feeling of being tired of staying quiet in conversations because you are not sure your English is good enough. Whatever it is, I want you to actually name it. So here, what we are going to do. Here's what I want you to do. Grab your notepad, the one I mentioned at the start, and in a moment I am going to give you 20 seconds of quiet. In that time, write down one sentence. I want to speak English confidently because. Don't overthink it. First honest answer that comes to your mind. I'll be right here when the time is done. So your time starts now. Welcome back. Whatever you wrote down, hold on to that notepad page. We are going to come back to that sentence at the very end of this course, and I think you are going to be surprised by how differently you feel about it by then. Alright, let's map out exactly what we are headed. This course is organized into 8 sections, and I am going to walk you through each one so you know exactly what's coming and why it's in this order. That's this video. Just getting oriented, understanding why we are here, and setting the tone for everything that follows. This is where we get hands on. We'll break down word classes, nouns, verbs, adjectives in the simplest possible terms. No confusing grammar jargons. Then we'll move into pronunciation, word stress, sentence stress, and intonation, which is honestly the difference between sounding robotic and sounding natural. And we'll even look at punctuation, not for writing, but for how it shapes the pauses and emphasis in your speech. Once you've got the building blocks, we put them together: sentence structure, subject, verb, object, order, and then present, past, and future tenses, all taught through everyday, realistic examples, not textbook sentences nobody actually says. We'll also spend real time on the mistakes almost every learner makes and exactly how to fix them. Here we zoom out and look at listening, speaking, reading, and writing together. Because that's not separate boxes, they reinforce each other. I'll give you practice techniques for each one that you can use long after this course ends. And this is where the course shifts towards teaching. If you want to run your own lessons for one student or a whole class, this section shows you how to set play objectives and structure a lesson that actually flows: warm up, presentation, practice, and review. Planning a lesson is one thing, running it in the room is another. This section covers keeping students engaged and in a class where everyone's at a different level, and maybe most importantly, giving feedback in a way that corrects mistakes without making anyone afraid to speak. Because so much teaching now happens through a screen, we'll cover the tools and platforms that work best, how to keep remote students engaged when you can't just walk over their desk, and how to handle tech problems without losing the whole lesson. And finally, we bring it all together: how to check understanding as you go, how to assess speaking skills specifically, which is trickier than grading a written test, and a final review to help you figure out exactly where to go next after this course ends. So, by the end of the series, here is where you will be. You'll speak with noticeably more confidence and correct sentence structure. You'll understand pronunciation well enough to actually sound natural, not just grammarly correct. And if teaching is your goal, you'll be able to plan and run a real English lesson in person or online from scratch. That's not how a small promise. And I don't expect you to just take my word for it. I expect you to test it video by video and notice the difference for yourself. A few quick things that will make a real difference in how much you get out of this course. Keep your notepad going every video. Write down at least one new sentence you can actually say out loud. Say things out loud during the videos, even when I don't explicitly ask you to. Silent learning only gets you halfway to speaking. Watch in order. Section 3 assumes you have done Section 2. Skipping ahead will leave you gaps. Come back tomorrow. This only works as a daily habit. One video a day, same time if you can. If this is the kind of course you have been looking for, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because a new video is going up every single day. And if you already know someone who's been wanting to speak English more confidently or wants to teach it, send them this video. Let's start this together. Drop a comment below and tell me the sentence you wrote down a few minutes ago. I want to speak English confidently because. I read every single one, and I would genuinely like to know why you are here. So, all of you, tomorrow we start section 2, the actual building blocks of spoken English. Grab your notepad, and I'll see you there. Thanks for being here for video 1. Let's go!
वीडियोस बनाने हैं फिल्मोरा है ना।